Today is Thursday, July the 18th, 2024, and welcome to episode 105 of Rural Reliance with Canny Couple. I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
We're a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every single day to merge homesteading and frugality and reducing our dependencies on outside sources.
Right.
And one of the things we strive for every year is to have a set of goals. Homestead goals, financial goals, household goals, things like that.
And to show progress.
To show progress or to show where we need to pivot.
Right.
Because we have realized this year there's some things we need to adjust.
Yes.
We've come across some issues. So I guess we start out the beginning of the year, we had a big family change.
Yes. You stopped working to come home full time about the middle of January.
Mm-hmm.
And, so that was a change going from 2 incomes down to 1 income.
It was.
And we had some high hopes.
About what?
All of the goals that you were going to accomplish while you were home.
I feel like we've made some progress.
We have.
We've made a lot of progress.
We got some areas, though, that need some focus or work in, though.
They do. They need some focus. They need some work. And we need to work on processes and procedures to free up time.
Which we talk about and
all the time.
We are failing at in some areas.
We are. So we're working on it. But that's what a check-in does. It shows you where you are, where you're failing, where you're not, and what you need to work on. So we're just going to start going through what we do.
If you listen to, at the first of the year, we did this in 2 episodes at the first year. We did one, our homestead goals, and one, our financial goals for 2024.
I think they were episodes 75 and 77.
Okay. So now we're combining these into one to talk about.
Yep. This makes more sense.
It does.
But it just helps you reevaluate because our goal at the beginning of the year might be very different from our goal at the end of the year. We did this last year. We had a huge change in goals.
Last year, we had no intentions of her quitting work within a year. Mm-hmm. And mid-year, we decided that was what we
got to make a change.
What we was going to push for.
And we got debt free. So, first thing's chickens. We talked about our chickens. Meat and layers are our end goal. We hope to have meat birds here. Not this year, probably next year. And our layers. Our layers are doing well. Growing.
Well,
should start to have eggs soon.
We'll have a couple of meat ones.
We'll have a couple of meat. We got 2 roosters.
3.
We got 3.
3, but you just want to keep one.
Want to keep one. We have one. He's really pretty. He's got a beautiful green tail on him.
He's mean.
No, that's not the mean one.
That's not the mean.
That's not the mean one. I have another one that is mean. He will not let me get in the coop. He wants his scraps. So we've got a bit of a bully.
So that one there, is going first.
But for the meat bird area, we have started updating the fencing around the garden.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to do the inside of the garden just to make sure they can't get in between those 2 areas. Right. We've got to build some tractors. I'm still in the design, exactly what I want when we do meat bird tractors. But we also have an old dog lot that is really almost completely proofed. It will just need chicken wire put around the entire thing.
Right, if we do chickens there.
Well, but if we're only going to do a couple of turkeys, we can put some chickens in there too. So we could use it for some meat birds or as a second layer area. So we could have meat birds for the short period of time they need to be in there, pull them out, and then have, rotate our layer flocks through there. So we don't have to worry about introducing new birds.
Right.
Because the area, for the most part, it's pretty animal proof.
It was made to be animal proof.
It was made so nothing could get out.
Yeah.
We have big problems with that. But I do need to put some wire around it, make some adjustments to make it a little bit easier and a little bit more bird friendly. But we've made progress. We're moving forward.
Yeah.
Made lots of progress. The lily pad, I'm in planning and figuring out exactly what we're going to do. And I kind of think I've decided on this. Been spending a lot of time on this. Erin's like, I have no idea what she's playing.
No.
Because just trying to figure out the type of housing I want, because I know the animal I'm putting in here likes water, likes mud. It's dirty. I need something that's very easy to clean. With these chickens, I'm already seeing the things that I would like to change, and as we go through with ducks, I want to make sure I'm doing the same thing. I want to make sure I have a way to put their feed near the coop.
Yep.
This is a problem for me with the chickens right now. It's not too terribly far away, but with the ducks, it would be. It would be a hike to drag back and forth. So, just things I have to think about and try to determine and decide what we're going to do, because not only do we have to make sure mice can't get into it, but if I feed out, to make sure a bear can't get into it.
Right.
Because that could be a problem.
Yeah, and like on goal tract wise, our goal is to have layers by the end of the year from chicken perspective.
That was the goal. The meat birds, maybe this year.
Maybe next.
Probably next.
You know, that was that type of thing. But now the lily pad, we knew that wasn't going to be one we have ducks introduced this year. It was getting it built for next year.
And we've kind of decided. I've looked at the frame I want to use for this. I'm looking at it through a standpoint of something that needs to be able to stay to the ground, that we can secure, because security is a really big thing. A lot of people put things up and they don't secure it to the ground. Secure your stuff to the ground. That is so important. A windstorm comes, it blows over, and you expect it to actually hold its shape. It's not going to hold its shape. You've got to do the extra work to make sure it happens. With the lily pad, I want to make sure I have a way to throw scraps into them without actually having to get into the coop. I wish I did this with the chickens. I told you I wish I had a door on the up. I'm going to be building...
I was going to say we'll probably build one.
Yeah, I'm going to be building something like that onto the frame. But again, we also have to make sure it is animal proof. No animals can get in. They're okay, because we do have the potential for predators. We hear coyotes. I just heard one a couple days ago out in our holler. Told Aaron, I said, I think I heard a baby squeal. He's like, yep, you heard a coyote.
Yep. And holler, for people who don't know what holler means, that's, a low point down in the land below us.
Yes. Garden issues and successes. So we had a lot of goals with our garden this year, and we've had a lot of good things and a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
So we kind of struggled. Buckets. We moved a lot of our plants to buckets. The peppers have done amazing. The broccoli did really good.
The broccoli did really good. The tomatoes has struggled, but we weren't expecting
96-degree weather before July.
Every day for 30 days so far, type of thing. So that has hurt. So we've had to water these more than we figured. We knew we would have to water them,
but we weren't expecting to have to water every day, and we've had some issues with blossom end rot. I'm actually at the point where I'm going to pull the tomatoes that don't have blossom end rot off the plants, just bring them in and let them ripen. I know that's not ideal, but it does. You can pull green tomatoes; they will ripen. They just take a little longer. You have to watch them for anything getting rotten. But next year, we're already making plans for next year, what we plan on doing. Now, we've not had this issue with any other area of our garden, which is why we don't understand. All of our other tomatoes are in raised beds.
Yes, and they're doing great.
They're doing great.
So we think it's the buckets.
And we don't water them. We're not watering these at all, like one time, maybe twice.
Yeah, the reason we did have to water these were, though, because they were so wilty looking.
They were awful.
And that's why we had to put up the shade cloths as well.
But I also wonder if it was where the ones that looked the worst were the ones that got hit with the vinegar.
You never know.
It could be.
You never know.
So that's kind of the struggles we're facing there. Broccoli, we actually had some production. Now we have had some issues. We had a groundhog. Had a groundhog.
We don't have a groundhog anymore.
At least not that one.
Not that one.
But we actually had some production, so we feel really good about that. But he did eat off a lot of our plants.
He did. He ate off a ton.
About half.
Well, broccoli-wise, so I'll start with broccoli. He ate off all the ones in the buckets in the garden starting off.
Then he
got to the ones beside the chicken, ate half of those off. And then, just from another garden perspective, he ate, all the fresh
Squash
leaves he like decimated, and then he got to the tops of the beans as well.
And they had been growing. He hadn't bothered them at all.
Right. And then, of course,
But we have gotten a few heads of broccoli. So this is our first actual broccoli heads we've ever produced. So I feel really good about that. And we did these from seed. So I feel even better about that. Critter proofing. So we have realized we need to really work on this.
So
it's been small fixes.
It's been temporary fixes.
Temporary.
So we had made the garden deer proof. Deer proof was good. We did think, oh gosh, when we saw this stuff eating in, that a deer had gotten in there. He did.
I told him it was the groundhog.
Which she was right. But, so we've had some patching there. Well, then we were trying to patch up all the areas to prevent the groundhog coming in from. And we even saw where he got out the very last time. And we still can't figure out how, even with our patching there, unless he climbed over
fencing and wood.
Some fencing and wood.
So we realized we have some areas that need to be worked on, and we've kind of got to figure out a good option. So I know what to do around the bottom of the building. That's one of the things I actually got on Prime Day today. I got some more yard staples. They had them for $7 for 6-inch for 50 pack. I thought that was a pretty good price. So yard staples. Anything we put in the ground, it goes in. Now, we'll probably get some 12-inch ones to put around these areas, because 6 inches versus a 12-inch, that 12-inch is going to stop a lot of things from digging. You're going to notice a hole if it has to go 12 inches down and around it, if it's that big.
Yeah, and the groundhog wasn't the only thing we saw in the garden. We did have on the camera.
We've had a few things.
A possum and a rabbit. A possum just looked like it was traveling back and forth, in all honesty, before we plugged up that hole.
Yeah. And did we have a raccoon once?
Oh, yes, that's true. We had the raccoon in there as well, which we haven't seen it back in.
We haven't. But we know the groundhog was one eating.
Yeah.
Because we've got video
we
proof
got
of
video
him.
proof of him sitting there in front of the camera just...
But I did a lot of...
Good reaction. Good. She didn't see that.
I did a lot of work critter proofing the garden. I got fencing all along the outer rim of the garden, but I know there's areas we've really got to work on this fall when the garden's put to bed, because it's really hard to do anything right now. Everything's kind of in full bloom. It's growing, and it's kind of hard to really mess around the actual garden itself. So I need everything kind of taken down. And especially where our building is. That's where we're having the most trouble trying to figure out what we want to do, because we want to be able to have water collection on the back side of this building. So I can't cut my access off.
And we had it sort of left off access-wise to get behind this area as well, to some berries and stuff like that, which right now we can't from that angle. Maybe it is we have another fence right behind the berries to grow up, for example, and that still gives us that access back there, but prevents anything from coming in, and maybe a small gate or something over there, a door.
Or my thought might be to put I like U-clamps and P-clamps, and to actually attach those to the building with a bolt, and to put fencing on the sides, and to actually just have it come all the way down. And we need to get back there, have a way to quickly undo them. I like reusable zip ties. Those are pretty awesome. I'd probably work really well there, but just have them on both sides of the building as tight as I can get it.
So those were areas goal-wise. We weren't expecting that.
I feel like it's where a lot of my time went this year.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of your time has gone to quick fixing.
A lot of my time has gone to, oh no, we really need to do this. It's got to be done now. But there have been some successes. So like our tater patch. Our tater patch, we actually got it completely deer-proofed, fixed. All the upper fencing was up and everything in. And
we got down leaf mulch and grass mulch around that.
The goal was only to do grass mulch, but we just didn't have enough grass. We thought we would, but we didn't.
Yeah.
And
Leaf
so
mulch worked.
it did. And we've actually got plans for this year to bring the leaves down enough that whenever we start to put things down, we can at least get those areas covered up,
Yeah.
and have it ready. And it's actually pretty handy because you can just open up the fence. I kind of left it open so you can open it up, dump it over, and then rake it down.
Right.
The turnips and rutabagas, these have actually done very well.
They've done very good.
We've got some there.
We've eaten some of those as well. They've been good.
They're a little sharper, and they're strong.
Because we haven't had that first frost yet.
And,
because that's what we usually wait for, is that first frost before we pull those.
Well, we planted them very early.
We did.
We planted them very early with the intention of a lot of these things are going to rot in the ground to create more fertilizer, to create better. But they're thriving. And what this has led me to think is I might need to rethink how I plant things next year. I actually think next year when we go to plant our seeds and stuff, I'm going to do the rutabagas and turnips like we have. I might actually get some short carrots to plant as well as a companion plant if they will work with those plants. And then the squashes, but then around them plant clover. So the clover can grow and maybe outcompete those weeds.
Right.
Because we are having a hard time with the weeds. And it was so hot this year. When I last weeded, I think I actually did more damage than actually helped. It just really took a lot out of the plants. But it is helping, and we live what we learn, and we keep growing from it. But definitely looking to do some more companion planting and try to get some more growth and hopefully some more, usable, because I like doing the turnips. We like to have turnips, but the amount I planted, there's no way we're going to eat them all.
Yeah.
But the goal is to till them up and let them go.
Yep. Well, not really. Till them up.
You'll till at the end of the year.
Well, maybe.
No, you'll till at the end of the year. We don't till the beginning of the year. We till the end of the year.
I want to get away from all tilling. But,
I know you do, but we got a ways to go before then. But our ground is much softer this year than it was last year.
Yes.
Last year, when we were talking about the garden, at the beginning, we had no idea how soft the ground is. I would never have thought of doing carrots until we walked on the ground this year. It was so soft. It was so soft. Propagation. We started with elderberries. We actually had some success. We have some that actually work.
We've got two.
A few. We maybe another one or two in there.
Maybe. So, what we did was over here on the bank, which the State Department mows quite regularly. I was afraid, well, if they mow it down, they mow it down. But I took all kind of cuttings from it, and we put it in our pots. With dirt. The lesson we did learn was that we let them get too dry, like once or twice, and they ain't coming back from it at that point. They have to keep wet constantly. And when we've done that since, we've had some that we've either planted later or that have made it.
We had one that broke off. It was green as it could be, and it actually produced flowers.
It did.
I clipped those off. Yeah. But we have had success, so we will have something to plant in the fall. We'll have something to put in the ground in the fall to hopefully replace some of the ones we have up in the upper field and start seeing progress. Strawberry patch. Got that built. Our first one. And it's done well.
Okay. It's very weedy at the moment.
It is very weedy. I'm scared to kind of pull too many weeds because of the sun. It
went through its first blooming, because these are the
everbearing.
So we had some berries from it to begin with. Usually August, September wise is when we'll usually have our other everbearing for us.
I'll probably get back in there and chop the weeds. I'm probably not going to pull, but I will chop them down or cut them down. I'm not pulling anything right now. But we've had production, and they're doing well, and the animals haven't been able to eat off of them.
Correct.
We do have to add some height to it.
The berries are growing taller than we expected.
Normally, they're supposed to spread, and that's what we've always had. They spread. No, we're growing high.
We're going up, so we have to add another layer to these.
But it's worked well, and the bed is really a good height for us, and it's showed us what we want to do with a new area on our property in the coming years. We want to put more strawberry patches because it just makes sense. Because it's open, and we can cover this area up with cardboard and mulch or whatever, and just really make this really productive for us. That's the goal. The vertical planters, we got those moved. We did have some strawberries survive.
Yes, we did have some of those survived from that. Maybe about 6 different sections of the vertical
Something
planters.
like that. But they're much more stable. Now, I couldn't do 3. I had to take it down to 4 because I was worried if the wind blew, it could go into my screen on my screened-in porch. And I was very careful about that. I try to make sure we don't do anything that's going to break our screen. Out of control area. So I've done a lot of work here. And this is one of the things that it took more of my time than we thought.
Yes, because in past years, we would spend probably both of us together all one weekend trying to do this, maybe once a month. Now, with the little one, both of us can't do it unless she's out there. Unless she's out there pulling weeds herself,
So what we've done is we've got all the fencing up for the berries. As if they can be contained, they're contained. I am having constantly go through them about to sneeze. Sorry. But we've worked through all that. We've got them all contained. I've gotten a lot of them pruned down. I still have some more pruning to do for some others, but that's a next year project, not a this year project. And we're just keeping them all contained. The other thing is the kiwis. Kiwis, I had them contained.
You did.
But all the new growth, like these things grow like crazy. And where we have a problem with them is if I go to yank them out of the apple tree, I'm going to take apples with them. So I cannot prune them back until this fall. So it's something we have to be very careful about. We don't want to hurt apples and damage apples off our tree.
Right. And we did have blooms this year on those kiwis, so it was our first time with that. But I don't know if
we have any males.
Just because it was the first year or because we didn't have any males that had survived from the kiwis. So we got to get us some established male ones.
We want a couple of good sized males to go in this area. We'll probably put them around it, but somewhere where they can get to it. Wood storage. So I've actually started on this project. I took the roof off to put a new roof on the place.
Yeah, it was falling down.
Out of control areas. That's part of the wood storage is the goji area. That area is looking really good. I've got it all tied to the fence. It did amazing. And then we also figured out the gomies. Instead of building something, we actually found nets that had a zipper on them.
That did work. I will say though, next year from the way they grew, we're gonna have to get bigger ones.
Yeah. We're gonna have to go keep one up sizes, or we're gonna have to prune. Well, so eventually we're gonna have to prune these back. They can't keep. We can't let them grow.
Well, right, but we could do some propagation off of it as well.
Yes. But the wood storage area, so that's where the gojis are, and I've already started the planting phase here, and I've already started the cleaning up phase, which is half the job. Aaron actually got mad at me because I took the roof off.
By herself.
Well, he hit his head. He always hits his head when he has to go here. When he put the roof on, he didn't think that he is taller than the roof.
All I was doing was a quick fix to prevent anything from getting out.
So, I mean, and I have to give him credit. The roof held up and it had cinder blocks and bricks on it. It had cinder blocks and bricks on it. But we had to... I got the roof off, and I have to do the cleanup, and I've got to figure out what we're going to do on the ground. But I know how I'm going to put the building on, so I'm going to use my U-clamps so I can make sure any wooden structure we put in here doesn't touch the ground. That's important because we don't want it to rot, and if I can keep it up off the ground because of the way the fencing is, I love a U-clamp. I love them. They're amazing. They're such a time saver. I can use that to connect the wood to the actual building itself. and use bricks at the bottom to help support the wood up.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is we're also putting the roof at a slope, so it'll be 8 feet on one side.
Well, and so that the water will come down from it from that perspective as well, because we don't want water sitting and leaking through like it was before either.
Well, and we want to catch it.
Right, because we want to harvest it and use it on other places or things on the property.
But I also need to make sure he can walk in there.
Right.
So it's going to be 8 feet on one side, 6.5 on the other. Should be tall enough for him to get in and out. Yeah. That's my goal. And my plan, it's not a hard plan. It's actually very easy. It's just getting the material and also making a decision of how long we want the roof, if we want it to come out from the building a little bit or not, and what that actually looks like. But getting the gojies controlled was a huge part of that. That was a huge part. So getting the gojies controlled and getting the roof off kind of opened that up to really let us see the space. The next thing is the outdoor washing area. It's not going to happen this year. I don't know if it's going to happen next year.
I think you skipped ahead on areas. You didn't talk about the poison ivy areas.
Oh, we didn't.
So getting rid of the poison ivy areas was a major thing that we were trying to do this year. We went a little farther than that, and I don't think this was our goal this year, was it? It wasn't on our list. But it was one of those where...
This was a financial goal and a homestead goal.
Right.
Well, okay, so it was it was a hard decision to make.
It was. So we had pine trees in a line beside our house that went beside a small side road with 3 or 4 houses way out at the end of it. And it was originally put there because the road was dirt to keep the dust down. Well, they paved it, they've turned it back to gravel, they paved it again, type of thing.
Our part's paved.
But
don't ask me how I did that.
But either way, they'd gotten out of control, and we knew that we had to get rid of them.
Well, we originally were going to trim them down.
Right, so we knew they had to either be trimmed or something, because we were talking... I think we ended up counting 30 to 40 something pine trees that were 50, 60 feet tall now.
At least. At least.
So, yeah, we, and this area that was around them was a poison ivy haven. So it was an area we couldn't utilize, we couldn't do anything with. I couldn't get into it because I would be covered in poison ivy. And of course, that's where the outside cat would always go and lay and then try to come and rub on you with poison ivy all over, but of course. But either way, we knew we had to get rid of or do something here, and...
We just made the decision to cut them down.
We made the decision to cut those down.
It wasn't ideal. We are going to put up a fence for privacy, just to kind of give us that extra bit of privacy, because we do like having that.
Right, and we did lose a lot of shade.
We lost a lot of shade. That's probably been the harder part.
It has been.
It's been the harder part. We've lost a lot of shade. But this has also opened up a lot of potential for our homestead. So we are looking at this area, and we're looking at it for part of it up to our well water pump, like a couple feet off of it, to put in strawberry plants. That's where we're going to put those strawberry plants, because it's going to be right there next to the house. It's going to be so easy to get to.
Right.
And then down the rest of it, put maybe more strawberry plants or strawberry beds down through there, about a foot down, to make sure we have room to get a vehicle through. And then whenever the driveway turns up, put blueberry bushes around the rest.
Yeah. So I say when we cut these down, we gained maybe 3.5 feet.
Oh, more.
You think more than that?
Those branches were way longer. I'd say probably closer to 10.
Okay, so see, that's how much area we gained back by getting rid of those as well. And when we're talking about the fence, we're talking about putting them right against where the old stumps were. So, we're right at that location.
Yes, so that's what we're really working on, or working toward here in the future. This will be a really long project. It's going to take us a couple of years to build and to fill and to figure out. We're still dealing with the poison ivy, but it's much more manageable.
It's much more manageable. And if you've noticed in the past few weeks, grass is starting to grow there.
It is.
And I think it's out competing the poison ivy.
I wonder if we need to put clover through there right now.
Well, if we knew it was going to get as much rain as we're supposed to get the next week or two, we should have planted last week. We should have planted
something because it would have laid. Yeah. But yeah, the poison ivy area with the trees. Now, the poison ivy area in our little garden area, we're still working through that. But we've pivoted. Mm-hmm. We have pivoted. So we've actually been saving up all of our cardboard.
Yep.
We're going to cardboard because with the trees getting cut down,
we got free mulch.
We got free mulch, so we can cover this area.
Well, okay, so I guess so everybody knows about tree things. So we had to pay for a portion of them. About half. The other half had power lines through them, so we had to get the power company tree cutters to come out and clear them. So, we didn't pay for the mulching on the others. We told them to just throw it over the bank. But when the ones for the power company came, we said, yeah, we want mulch.
Yeah, we want the mulch. Yep, put it over there for us. Yep. It was actually really surprising we were able to get them down within a month. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was able to get them down within a month. Yeah. The outdoor washing area, this is one of those things that's on hold right now.
It's just on hold because we haven't got through everything else that's been going on to get to it.
And that's the same thing with like our mushroom plants outside. We just don't have the bandwidth at this point. We're still in cleanup mode and the infrastructure for the animals. We're still working through all that. There's just not enough time in the day without me taking away time from Isabel, and that's not an option.
Right, and that was part of the reason we brought Julia home.
Watering systems. So those have been moved to the fall.
None of those got done.
Not by the spring, but they'll get done by the fall. Because we have to do that with the garden.
We wouldn't have caught much rain anyway.
We wouldn't have caught much rain. Garden, the woodshed, all of that, we need to have those figured out this fall. We might not be able to use them, but we will have them ready to go for next spring. So we've done a lot of work here, but what we have... Well, let's go ahead and do our financial goals because they all kind of work together.
Yeah.
The issues that we're facing. So we are still debt free.
Yep.
Woohoo! Big goal. Debt free.
No debt.
No debt. No plans.
Right.
We actually got very lucky they didn't charge us per tree. We were worried. He was terrified.
I was terrified. Charged just by the job instead of by the tree there.
By the day, so it was good. We are saving half of our income.
More than half.
More than half. The goal was half.
So we're at 66% savings right now. Well, 66% money in and 32% money out. So that ain't 100%. Where's that other 2%? That there is actually cash back from cards or side hustles, gift cards.
And a lot of times that cash back home cards either goes in points for future purchases or we use that it goes into savings.
Right.
So depending on the card. But we're doing really well. We've actually adjusted to our new financial situation really well.
Better than I thought we would have, honestly.
My grocery budget has helped.
Yes.
And we are also putting a lot of assets into short-term and long-term savings goals. So it's not just focused on one. We've really upped our actual investing and savings rate. We did that this year, and we've really pushed forward and made a lot of good progress.
Yes. So we are doing 27%, 27.5% investment right now. And then I'm, match wise from my employer, 7.5%.
Which we don't count that, but it's part of it. eBay. We have picked up on eBay. It's been better.
It has been. It really has been. It's just
not where Aaron's lofty goal was to be.
No.
It's not. And I think part of it is the economy.
People don't have the extra cash to
make purchases,
and USPS shipping rates keep going up, so people are having to pay more for these items to get shipped.
They are. I mean, it is. The shipping keeps going up higher and higher.
I mean, we wanted what,
$1,000
$1,000 a month. That's what we said. Oh,
We're not there yet.
We didn't even hit that for the year.
But we are seeing progress.
Yeah.
That was a very, very lofty goal.
Yeah, Julia's been doing amazingly about running all of this, getting it up.
I have not. He's being so kind about it.
You have, though. I mean, you've done a lot of work into this to, get it moving, per se.
There's still more to do. I need to go through and move some things around. We have found some things that aren't selling. We need to move out. We need to do more on Facebook Marketplace. We got big items that we could sell. All these things, and you need to start working through. The problem is with the homestead, I'm having to make decisions.
Which gets done that day.
What I get done that day. And if it's pretty and it's not 90 degrees when the baby goes out for a nap, my focus has to be there. It's just we're having to adjust and shift our focus because nighttime is all homestead. We spend more time working on the homestead at night than we do anything else at this point because of all the picking
Berries.
and all the berries and the gardening and all the animal proofing in the middle of the night.
Well, not the middle of the night, but before it gets dark.
It feels like it. By the time we're done, it feels like it's the middle of the night.
I mean, chooses later.
Aaron has been doing amazing with getting cash back and maximizing our cards. He's done so well here.
Yes, so, well, I guess is this the receipt or just the cash back in general? Okay, so receipt-wise, I mean, every month, we've at least had $5 back from a receipt app or Ibotta, like every month. At least 5. Some months we've had, 10, 15, 37, it just depends, but we've had at least $5 back there every month. And then from a cashback credit card perspective, I've built a spreadsheet to sort of track what all is, what category goes with what card, type of thing.
That's helped him keep it straight.
It has. And lately, it's gotten crazy with the amount of extra rewards that they are pushing. So,
but sometimes they're in error.
Yeah. So
something's happening. We're not sure what it is. Lowering our common bills. So we've done really well in this area. We've worked on really getting our bills lowered.
Right.
So we're looking at this on an annual average.
Yep.
An annual average. We have to look at these things. So let's talk about the electric bill first. So the electric bill is averaging. What's the electric bill averaging?
192.
192?
Yep.
Is that right? I think
that divides it by 12.
Okay. Oh, you're looking at both. So 192. Our goal was 150 for the electric bill.
The months that hit hard were January, February for us.
So that's what's difficult.
Yep.
Hopefully, we're hoping to see improvement as we keep going through the year. We still have several more months to go. Now, our grocery budget, I know we're under $300. We're at $230.
$230.
That's pretty good.
For the year.
Per month. So it's less than $100 per person. So we're feeling really good in that area.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about our numbers. We've talked about everything. And we're seeing progress in some areas. We're not seeing it in others. So what are we seeing that's the common theme? There's still not enough time in the day to get all the things done that need to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still so much maintenance work that needs to be done.
And a lot of this is still because of last year.
Right.
Maintenance-wise. Because we didn't get anything done maintenance-wise.
Well, it's just the weed eating and the ticks and all of that. We've had a huge issue with ticks on our property this year. Worse than we have ever had it in the past. We saw 5 ticks on a window screen.
On a window screen.
On a window screen for days outside of our bedroom window where we have never had ticks before.
No.
I mean, so we know we have an issue here that we're really trying to work through. So I try to keep the areas that we need
Yep.
to be in weed eated, pushed down, but that takes time.
Yep.
That takes my afternoon, and I can't put that afternoon towards other projects. Or it's 96 degrees, and I just can't work outside at that point.
No.
I tried, and
I tell her no.
and it's miserably hot. You can't function for but a short period of time out here. So we have to find different and unique ways to cut my time back.
Yep.
I need to be weed eating maybe one day every 2 weeks. Well, that's what we need to get my weed eating time cut down to. We need to be, Julia's not really having to deal with this very often. We need to really get the weeding in the garden figured out for next year. I'm really hoping to use clover as a way to keep from having to do a whole bunch, or doing leaf mulch. Don't really care what we do. We just got to do something.
Right.
So we just have to find a solution. So I have more time to put into the side hustles in the afternoon when the little one's taking a nap. Because I've talked about this in my own podcast. Family rhythm is a good thing, and nap time is sacred in our house. Period. I don't care if she plays for that hour. That's sacred for me.
Because of all the other things.
It's just, she needs that time. I need that time. And 99% of the time, we do take a nap.
Yeah.
So she does better when she has a nap, but we're still at that age. So that's really our goal, is to get me to where that time frame I could put towards other areas. Right. At least like maybe one day it's homestead work instead of 10 days in a row it's homestead work.
Yep. That's been our, main issue. And I know homestead, it's something that you have to work on, maintain daily, type of thing. But at the same time, we're not just talking about that day-to-day maintenance. We're talking about the extra things that we're trying to keep areas clean, trying to keep areas critter-proofed, stuff like that.
So we've really got to work on getting better processes here. I need more. There are ways. It's just figuring out what way works best for us. Right. Because not only am I spending my afternoons doing this, then I have to spend my evenings doing this as well. Yep. So I'm spending so much extra time doing a lot of things when we could really try to get this cut down and to where it's more manageable. Even 2 days a week. That would be 3 days on side hustles, 2 days on other items. And I could split my time a little bit better. But right now I'm not doing a good job of splitting my time and managing. I'm doing the best I can with what I have, but it's difficult.
Yep.
So that's really our goal right now. We're still working on these areas. We still have plans in that. We know what we need to do. And the main goal is coming up, figure out the garden, get that completely critter proofed for next year. Completely critter proofed. Figure out our plans for our garden next year. Yes, it's July. It's not the end of the year yet, but I really want to make sure I'm maximizing the amount we can grow. I'm maximizing everything. And we're going to have another hot year. How do I manage that and keep the weeds down and not have to spend so much time working in the garden? Getting the duck coop built and all of that. All of those are plans that are happening this year. It's just we have to figure out other ways to work through, manage, and find the time. Like, nothing's happening right now because it's just too hot. You can't function outside. You can't actually work outside.
Right. So I would say the last 3 weeks, probably 3 to 4 week range has been like this, for example. So
I've been doing more eBay work.
Yep.
I've been doing a lot more eBay work, or other work on the homestead or around the house, but the actual homestead work's kind of teetered off, or I try to do it early in the morning, and then by the afternoon I'm completely exhausted. So what do you think? How do you feel we've done so far this year? I know you want us to be so much further along.
I would say 30% of where we want to be.
He gives me a lot of credit, don't he?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I wanted to get done as well that I haven't got to, haven't been able to focus on, haven't had time to even try to get started on, for example, stuff like that. Even from just getting my ham radio antenna up by the end of the year. Um, I've sort of had a ham radio pole that I bought specifically for this back last winter that we still haven't even got to be able to get that up. But if I did get it up, I don't know when I'd have time to even use it. But beside the point. Stuff like that. I will say, financially wise, doing great from money in, money out perspective. We've really cut down on the budget. From a berry perspective, we've done amazing this year for a dry year. I think we've done amazing from a berry perspective. Garden perspective, we're definitely going to have a lot less food production from the garden than we normally do.
About half.
Yeah.
About half, maybe a little bit less. But that's okay. We're still blessed.
No.
And we are putting some more plants out that are short day squashes because we do have a little bit of time.
Right, and because we don't have the groundhog problem now.
We don't have the groundhog problem. Well, it's because before we were just putting them up a salad bar.
Yep. What about you?
I see the progress, but I do want to be further along. I feel my frustrations and just trying to, again, I feel like I'm in a cycle of maintenance, and that is not what I want to be in right now.
Right.
I don't want to be in a cycle of maintenance. I want us to get everything up and going within the next couple of years. So we know this is not happening, and I'm trying to be realistic with myself. It's going to take us a couple of years to get all of our infrastructures that we want built, and then we're just in complete, maintaining the homestead, and that's the goal. I just want to see us get our infrastructures built up a little bit better, a little bit stronger, get everything in place so we can be moving forward. That's kind of where I am right now.
Yeah. Well, if you got any comments, questions, anything you want to hear in a future episode, you can either leave it down below or send it to thecannycouple@yahoo.com. And make sure to go over and check out our link tree, which has links to all of our other sites that we're on social media-wise. And
as always, thank you for joining us on The Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.